Hi, I want to talk to you about progress. Now, I grew up in the 70s, so I've seen a lot of progress in my life. I remember video games coming out, starting off with Pong, moving up to Pac-Man, and today we've got these really advanced video games out there. And I remember home computing as well. I remember getting a Commodore 64, if any of you remember that. And then the home PCs coming out, and again the speeds and technology was improving, almost doubling itself every couple of years. Again, I've seen a lot of progress, and it got me thinking about how that affected us, and I started thinking that with all that progress, we must be working a lot more effectively today, a lot more efficiently. In other words, we must be doing what we did back in the 70s and 80s a lot quicker. And if that's so, then why am I still working the same number of hours, if not more? And on top of that, why is it still difficult to make ends meet? I remember back in the 70s, many families had only one breadwinner. The father usually was the one going to work, and the mother was still at home. And they were able to make ends meet. And today, that's not possible. If you don't have both parents working, you're not going to be able to get by. Why is that so if we have all this progress and increase in efficiency? So I looked into that. I wanted to see what the statistics were. And it's interesting because there are statistics that compare 1979 to 2007, and there is an increase of 80% in productivity. So we are working 80% more productive now, or at least in 2007, than they were in 1979. And the strange thing is that the average wage, in terms of the real average wage, when you take into account inflation, hasn't changed. Not that much, maybe 1 or 2%. So that doesn't make any sense. Like, where did all that added productivity go? It certainly didn't go into lower hours, because we're still working at least the same number of hours, if not more. And it didn't go to pay. Now, there was another interesting statistic there, and that was the wages for the 1%, the top 1%. Now that rose 240%. So there we can see that that most, if not all, of the productivity, the added productivity, has been siphoned off by this top 1%. Now there was another interesting statistic which just blew me away. That was the wealth, the distribution of wealth. And in 2007, it's hard to comprehend. The top 1% of the population own 34% of the wealth, and the next 4%, in other words, own another 25% of the wealth. So we're already up to almost 60% of the wealth held in the top 5%. And if we go up to the top 20%, then we're already at 85% of the wealth. 85% of the wealth is held by just 20% of the population. This is very bothersome and scares me, because it means that we're no longer in control. There's a small percentage of the population that basically control everything. Again, if they're having 60%, then they can make all the decisions. We no longer have we're no longer in the majority to overrule anything they say. Again, that I think takes away a lot of our freedom. So I think most people, maybe do not want to work these many hours, but they don't have a choice in that, because people are controlling their wages and keeping them artificially low, rather than sharing the wealth. I think this is something that is very unhealthy, and it could be even dangerous, because most of the revolutions in the past have been based on this type of distribution of wealth. When the poor become very, very poor and they feel they have no way out, they usually revolt. So again, I really don't want to call for a revolution. What I do think is that change needs to be made, and I think the first step is awareness. I think people aren't aware, and the truth is that there was a research study done at Harvard, which showed that I think first of all, 90% of the people of the population were asked how they think the distribution of wealth should be. And they gave something that, again, seemed relatively fair. It gave more to the wealthy and less to the poor, but it was something that was reasonable. Then they were asked what they think the distribution of wealth really is. And there they said, okay, well, there's even more to the wealthy and less to the poor, but it was still something that was relatively reasonable. There weren't that many that were, let's say, defined as poor people. But the truth is that even that, what people think was way off of what the real situation is. So I think that the first thing is awareness. We have to tell our friends, we have to tell our family, we have to tell everyone we know. I'm going to leave this video as a public video so that you can link to it, or there are other videos out there that are even better than this one that discuss this distribution of wealth. If people are aware that it's happening, that this exists, I think then we can start dealing with it. Now, how can we deal with it once there is awareness? First of all, there's the politics. First of all, we can try to elect people who agree that this is a problem and want to deal with it. We can also pressure existing politicians and let them know that we know that this is a situation and we want this to change. Again, I don't agree with a revolution of just fighting and stealing the money away from the rich. But I think there's a third way, which I think is probably the best way, but we'll have something we have to work towards. And it's based on what they call an open source model, which they have in computer software. In computer software, there's a group of people that are creating some of the best software out there, and they're doing it for free. They're giving up some of their free time and working together in these sort of forums to build software. Someone gives an idea, people discuss the idea, and they decide which of the ideas will be accepted and put into the product, and the product, the application moves forward in that way. So you're getting some of the best minds working together, discussing things. I think if we use that model and try to build companies that are open source and owned by the people, everyone can have their say in what's going on. People that understand certain issues. Again, if it's a legal issue, then of course the lawyers will be more involved there. If it's a technical issue, then the engineers and the scientists will be a little bit more involved there. And if it's a financial issue, then of course the financial people will be a little bit more involved there. But everyone will have their say. And of course, the people who are a bit more active in it will get a bit more of the rewards. But everything is spread out to everyone. And I think that will help motivate people to be involved. It'll get them interested in working again. They'll be even more productive in that way. And even the more labor type related work, people will feel that they're part of it, and they'll want to help. They'll want to be part of the success. And I think in that sense we'll be able to take back the wealth to ourselves, and again, which will give us more of the freedom. I think we'll be able to decide what hours we want to work, and not have other people decide for us what hours we want to work. And again, how we feel this affects the environment and all things, we can take that into account and not just have the bottom line and competition as our driving forces. So I think if we go in that direction, then we'll actually be having progress in terms of humanity. Humanity will be progressing to the next stage. Thank you.